Hello, this is a audiobook review and book review for Snow Crash by Neal Stephenson. So the blurb on this book reads, in reality, Hiro Protagonist delivers pizza for Uncle Enzo's Cosa Nostra Pizza Inc., but in the metaverse, he's a warrior prince, plunging headlong into the enigma of a new computer virus that's striking down hackers everywhere. He races along the neon-lit streets on a search and destroy mission for the shadowy virtual villain threatening to bring about infopocalypse. Snow Crash is a mind-altering romp through a future America so bizarre, so outrageous, you'll recognize it immediately. So, should you read this book? It's considered a classic in regards to the cyberpunk genre by many. If you liked Neuromancer by Gibson, if you liked Ready Player One, oftentimes Snow Crash is also recommended. So in regards to that, Snow Crash is definitely different from Neuromancer and definitely different from Ready Player One. With Snow Crash, it goes into so many different fields of study, history, linguistics, anthropology, archaeology, religion, computer science, cryptography, memetics. So even though in many ways it's satire and lighthearted, similar to Ready Player One, it still gets very complicated with some of the ideas that it explores. It is an excellent book though. As far as awards, it was nominated for the British Science Fiction Award in 1993 and the Arthur C. Clarke Award in 1994. So it's definitely highly regarded. As far as grading it for, say, the plot, a lot of people complain about the info dumps, and there are plenty. There will be pages where the author might go into things that are very obscure that you might have no interest in, like ancient Sumerian language or ancient Sumerian religion. And if that's not your thing, the info dumps are putting you off, then you want to just skip through them. If a lot of these were taken out, the novel would have been a lot shorter and would have tightened up the plot. Next, let's talk about characterization. Are the characters real? Do they feel like people that you can identify with and they're real characters? They all feel like real characters. Sometimes they might make decisions that you don't really understand, specifically YT, yours truly, the skateboard courier. She made some decisions in the book that were certainly confusing, but you can just chalk that up to the fact that the character is very young, so they're going to make some strange decisions. Next, how would you grade it in regards to creativity? The book is extremely creative. I felt like Ready Player One was very creative, but this book even more so, because as I mentioned before, it just combines so many different fields of study all into one book. So that you have the comedy element where many people feel like this is a satire of the cyberpunk genre, but even though it has that comedic element, it does dive into things like language and ancient religions and where we came from. So you can go deep into this book and read up on things like the bicameral mind, that theory, which is very interesting. So creativity, the creativity in the book is just immense. That's where I feel like it really shines, just seeing all the different things that Stephenson put together. All right, so last thing would be prose. So how is the writing? Is it good writing? It's definitely a notch above just your run-of-the-mill trade paperback novel. Stephenson uses a lot of creative language to describe things. I'll read a section from the book right now. So this is Hiro Protagonist, the lead in the story. It says, the deliberator never pulled that gun in anger or in fear. He pulled it once in Gila Highlands. Some punks in Gila Highlands, a fancy burbclave, wanted themselves a delivery and they didn't want to pay for it. thought they would impress the Deliberator with a baseball bat. The Deliberator took out his gun, centered its laser doohickey on that poised Louisville slugger, fired it. The recoil was immense, as though the weapon had blown up in his hand. The middle third of the baseball bat turned into a column of burning sawdust, accelerating in all directions like a bursting star. Punk ended up holding this bat handle with milky smoke pouring out the end. Stupid look on his face. Didn't get nothing but trouble from the Deliberator. So as you can see with that paragraph, Stephenson has very creative ways of describing the action and what's happening. So definitely the prose is several steps up above what you would normally read. So excellent. How is the audiobook? Audiobook is okay. Narrated by Jonathan Davis. He doesn't do an amazing job like I've heard in some audiobooks, but it's not a boring monotone either, so the audiobook is good. It has a little bit of music, some sound effects, kind of pulls you into the novel more, which is interesting. So how would you know if you want to read this? Things that I would liken it to, if you liked Ready Player One, definitely check it out. If you like anime and you've seen Ghost in the Shell and you thought Ghost in the Shell was cool, give it a try. And then in regards to, say, tabletop role-playing games, the closest thing I could think of to this book would be Shadowrun. So Shadowrun is a tabletop RPG similar to Dungeons & Dragons. If you like that universe with deckers going into virtual reality, definitely give this a try. Shadowrun is the closest thing I could think of to this novel. So all in all, when you look at it from creativity, prose, plot, characterization, I give it 8 out of 10. Definitely deserves its status as a classic in the cyberpunk genre. All right.